How's it going, people? Now it's time for PlayStation's year in review. Just the same as the other videos in this series, I will be looking at the showcases, the hardware, and then lastly, the games. If you want to see more of this content, please leave a like and subscribe, as it really helps the channel. 4 years into this generation, past trends would indicate this as a halfway point. However, games just take so long to make nowadays, and this is certainly beginning to show with Sony's first-party output. This isn't only visible in the game releases, but also the state of plays. This year also saw the first sprouts of PlayStation's new live service strategy. PlayStation had 2 notable events in 2024, and they both came in the form of a state of play, one in May and one in September. The May one was significantly worse, and the main showings here were the Astrobot reveal and the Concord reveal. This couldn't be a more chalk and cheese showing, as Astrobot obviously is an incredible game and went on to win the Game of the Year at the Game Awards, and Concord was shut down 2 weeks after release. The reactions to both these trailers in the state of play very much mirrored the response the games received on their release. Outside of these, God of War Ragnarok got a PC release, Until Dawn and Silent Hill 2 got further looks, and then on the third party side, we saw Monster Hunter Wilds, Path of Exile 2 and Dynasty Warriors. All of these for the most part were not the first showings we had of these games, so not really anything exciting here. September's event was much better. The biggest showing here was, of course, Ghost of Yotei, which was mostly cutscenes but looked superb. This is highly anticipated simply because Ghost of Tsushima was so good. Horizon Zero Dawn Remaster got announced, as did Legacy of Kain remasters, Archage Chronicles, Hell is Us, The Midnight Walk, and Alan Wake 2 The Lake House, all of which looked fantastic. There were also release dates for Monster Hunter and LEGO Horizon Adventures. A lot of good announcements and updates at this one. On the hardware side, outside of some new color schemes for the PS5, the main talking point is the PS5 Pro. By all accounts, it is the most powerful console on the market. There is no debating that. The question that should be asked though is whether the price tag of $700 for an all-digital system, and even more here in the UK and around the world, is worth it for a minor power upgrade. Digital Foundry and other analysts concluded that the power increase is very incremental. Therefore, if you are already a PS5 owner, it is not necessarily worth the upgrade unless you are someone who always wants to be on the cutting edge of tech. Don't get me wrong, I respect Sony for doing it, as there's obviously still a demand for it, but I think the cold response and the fact that Xbox didn't even do one this year signals towards a future where these mid-gen refreshes are no longer a thing. And all that comes down to is really the plateauing of tech. Now the games, these must be console exclusive but can be on PC. There is a misconception that PlayStation had a quiet year in 2024. That is true for their first party output, but their partnerships certainly came through. This year the PlayStation console exclusively saw Helldivers 2, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Foam Stars, Stellar Blade, Rise of the Ronin, Pacific Drive, Concord, Astrobot, Silent Hill 2, and Black Myth Wukong. To start, Black Myth Wukong I'm not going to say anything on, as its exclusivity is marred by uncertainty. Basically, it's just unclear as to whether PlayStation struck a deal or the devs couldn't get it to run on the Xbox Series S. Both camps seem to be saying opposite things, and so for the purposes of this ranking, I've decided that it does not qualify. PlayStation has made their console the home of epic single-player games. Final Fantasy, Stellar Blade, and Silent Hill 2 all delivered on that this year. Then we have a nod towards gaming of old with a classic platformer in Astrobot, which also celebrated PlayStation's 30-year history. Oh, and it won the Game of the Year award at the Game Awards, so all in all an out-and-out success. Pacific Drive was a sweet addition from the indie side of things, which is always nice to see. Rise of the Ronin was the only single-player game on this list that has been met with a meh. The new strategy for PlayStation was moving towards more live service titles, and Helldivers 2, Foam Stars, and Concord fit into that bracket. While Helldivers 2 is an absolute runaway success, Concord was shut down within 2 weeks, which is a catastrophic failure. The worst outcome we've ever seen, or at least in my memory. Foam Stars also recently made the announcement that they too would be shutting down support for the game. That's 2 out of 3 misses, so prospects are not looking good for this new strategy. We will just have to see what happens when Marathon, Bungie's next title, releases in the next couple years, especially with the trouble that studio has had this year. In conclusion, PlayStation's year has been a little like a roller coaster. They had one bad showcase and one good showcase. They released the Pro console, which is to be respected, but it's priced far too high for its small improvement. They had next to no first-party output for their software, but they had some good third-party partnerships come through. The single-player experiences hit for the most part, but the majority of new live service titles were met with catastrophic failure. It was most definitely a high highs and low lows kind of year. I do feel like the highs outweigh the lows, and so I'm giving PlayStation's 2024 a 7.5 out of 10. What I expect in 2025 from Sony is more of a roadmap of their first party crop. We know of 4 games, Ghost of Yotei, Wolverine, Intergalactic and Marathon, but only Ghost has a release window on it, and that just says 2025. We have no idea where these big hitting titles are going to drop. Is it 2025, 2026, 2027? Marathon from Bungie could have a 2025 release, but that game's launch may shift the strategy that they currently seem to be pursuing with live service, as Sony aren't the type to continue down a broken path. I imagine we will see them prop up their software side with more third-party partnerships, but I'd be interested to see where that's coming from now, with both Square Enix and Kojima preferring multi-platform releases. Perhaps something with From Software, as they've just recently increased their shares in the parent company. Although this will just be an announcement if anything, as From are already releasing a game next year with Elden Ring Night Reign. As I said at the start, games just take so long to make now, and it's really starting to show with Sony's output. Take a look at my videos for Xbox and Nintendo's year in review and see what I thought about them and how they compared to PlayStation. Let me know what you thought of PlayStation's year in the comments below. If you enjoy the content, please consider leaving a like and subscribe. And for everything casual gamer, keep it here. Peace and love.